Hi, it's me again, Will. I'm a fifth grade teacher and also a co-founder of Edgy. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to use Edgy with a family tater tot recipe and talking a little bit about all of the different things that you can do with Edgy. If you want to check out the reading that we are using today, the code is right up here in the corner, KH8F. And by displaying this code up on my projector, I can show my class how to join me as well. Now, there are a lot of things you can do with a recipe. We could look at the geography of where foods come from. We could talk about the math that goes into cooking. Or, like we're going to do today, we can analyze this recipe for sequence words. This is my wife's family recipe for Tater-Tot Hot Dish, and I'm sharing it with my class because we've been working on transition words and sequence words, and I want to see how good of a job they can do with finding sequence words in a real text. Now, we talk a lot about authentic text. Well, this is an authentic text. It's a real recipe. And by asking them to do real things with this recipe, it not only builds those literacy skills, but it also builds life skills as well. As we're watching, I'm going to walk you through my thought process and what I'm looking for in the text and in my students' actions with the text to help make decisions instructionally for what I'm going to do with them like right now, and then looking ahead to future instruction and what I might do next time to better support them. All right. Well, I'm going to wait for my students to join the reading here. And it looks like I already have my small class in here. So, class, you can go ahead and get started highlighting those sequence words in the text. Now, while they're doing that, there are a few things that I just want to point out. First is Edgy works on any device. It can work on a phone, a laptop, an iPad, even a Fire tablet. It'll work there too. And what that means is not only can students use this on any device, but if I want to walk around the classroom with this reading on my iPad so that I can be mobile and see what they're doing when they're doing it, that's an option. Now, as they highlight, in real time, I'm seeing what they highlight. And I can already see that Brennan, Amanda, Corbin have all started highlighting. First, that is a sequence word. Then, that is also a sequence word. Either is not a sequence word. So I might want to keep an eye on, looks like it was Corbin who highlighted that. So I'm going to want to keep an eye on Corbin and just make sure that he's understanding what to do. I'm also just going to take a quick look up here and see what's happening. It looks like Amanda and Brennan have each made 3 comments. Cody has made 3. And Corbin has also made 3. Now, I'm also noticing that one of my students isn't in here yet. So I'm going to check in with him and make sure that he understands what he's supposed to be doing and where he's supposed to be. I'm also going to take a look at what Corbin is doing. Okay, so I've clicked on Corbins View. Now this is Corbin's version of the text. And I am noticing that he's highlighting, so he's engaged with the text, but he doesn't seem to understand what he's supposed to be doing. He's highlighted either, line, and bubbling. Those aren't sequence words. So I would go over to him and I would mention, hey, Corbin, I noticed that you're having a little bit of trouble. We could have a conversation and I could find out where his misconceptions are coming from and provide him with support. That could be possibly turning heat vision on so that he can see what his classmates are doing. It could mean giving him a handout or just an image from a website that shows what sequence words are. Or I could also, as the teacher, leave a comment. So I could highlight first, and I could just, let the class know that this is a sequence word, and I could even list off some other sequence words to go with it. Now, I've talked with Corbin, and I'm hoping that now I'll start to see some correct annotations in the text from him. All right. Well, let's move on to some other students, see how they're doing. Amanda is doing a great job. She seems to be recognizing the sequence words. Okay. Good. Wow. Brennan is just really doing a great job. He is flying. Okay, let's go back to the whole class view and see how we're doing. Interesting. I'm noticing that almost everyone identified first. Almost everybody identified then. Only one student, Brennan, identified that while the meat is browning is a sequence. So that could be a point for reflection later on after we're done reading the text, or I could turn the heat vision on and make sure that everybody can see that Brennan highlighted that. And while they're doing this, I can also put the fire feed on. One of the things I like to do with the fire feed is actually project it up onto the screen so that the class can see what's happening as it happens, and I can see that too as I move around the room. I'm seeing that while, first, finally, next, they're doing a really, really nice job, and they're being very consistent about identifying sequence words. I can see that one student is providing some feedback on what you would call a hot dish, or as he likes to call it, a casserole. And while that wasn't the objective of this lesson, depending on what the purpose of your activity is, this could lead to a discussion about how there are synonyms, about how there are cultural and geographic differences about what we call the exact same food. All right. So looking back on my student comments, I can see that there might be a little bit of discrepancy between what my students can and can't do, and I'll need to keep that in mind moving forward. Okay, now I'm going to let the class know that I am turning heat vision on, which means they will all be able to see each other's comments. And what I would like them to do is to reply to their classmates' highlights with a synonym to that sequence word. So for example, first, they click on it, reply, and they might say another way of saying first is to begin with. They could say that a synonym for then is next. And I'm going to do that by clicking here on this button. And now the students can see each other's comments. This is a really important moment in any reading. What I have found to be so powerful about the heat vision is that not only does it provide an opportunity for collaboration and discussion, it's also an opportunity for the students who are struggling with understanding the concept to see what their classmates have done. And this does a lot for them. One, it shows that reading is a process. It involves work, and that they too are capable of succeeding at this. Second thing it does is it provides a scaffold. Not only do they have the encouragement of knowing that their classmates have worked with the text and made sense of it, but they can also kind of piggyback off of the work that those students have done. If after 5 minutes a student hasn't identified any sequence words in this recipe, I think it's clear that they're not going to get it this time, that they're not going to get it yet. But by looking at what their classmates have highlighted, they can start to understand what it was that they were supposed to be doing. And hopefully next time they do it, they'll get it. It's also an opportunity for some of those higher students to reflect on what their classmates did. So for example, even though Amanda did a really great job of identifying some of the sequence words in here, it's a great opportunity for her to reflect on while, which was one that she missed. So even for the student who did a really, really nice job overall, there's still an area to grow. Okay, these little green boxes that are popping up, they look like speech bubbles. These mean that there are replies happening. So I can actually open this up and I can see the whole stream of conversation. And for example, Brennan highlighted then. Let's see what the reply was. Cody said right after. That's perfect. So perfect, in fact, that I want to respond with my own comment. So I'm just going to give a quick thumbs up emoji. Not the best feedback because it isn't super descriptive, but I think they'll understand that what I'm saying is they have got a correct synonym and they correctly identified a sequence word. I'm going to go back and check in on Corbin here. Wow. He really did a nice job after we reviewed what sequence words are. I want to check in with him and give him a little bit of feedback as well. So I'm going to reply to his comment, and I'm going to select a text comment because I want to be more specific. Now I can give him feedback, and he can see that. Let's go back to the whole class view. All right. It looks like almost every single sequence word that has been highlighted now has a reply. This only took a few minutes, but already I have a lot of insights into what my students can and can't do, and they've engaged in a real reading activity, making sense of a recipe. From here, we could do a lot of things. We could have a discussion. We could revisit some of the sequence words that tripped people up, like while. But the bottom line is I can already tell who knows how to find a sequence word, who knows what a sequence word is, and who needs a little bit more work with that. All right. Well, thanks for joining me today. All of this recipe annotating has made me very hungry, so I'm going to get going. But thank you for joining us, and I'll see you on the Discover feed.